Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we are going to do the May calendar page. If you're following along, we're using a light wish calendar that is, or was, might still be available on Amazon. If not, you can work in your sketchbook, of course. I've taped off my papers so that I've got kind of a long panoramic area. And the quote we're going to be inspired by is by Paul Gauguin. And the quote is, "The artist sees what the others only catch a glimpse of." And I love this quote because it reminds me of what I always say, the artist show the muggles how to see the world, right? So we're gonna go with that quote. I am going to start by sketching out a interpretation of his Tahitian landscape, Paul Gauguin's Tahitian landscape. And I am going to be cropping a little bit off the bottom because I want to focus on the mountains and the sky. So Gauguin was a post-impressionist painter like Van Gogh. He actually had a short-lived friendship with Van Gogh, but he was they had a big argument, and that was when Van Gogh had sliced off part of his ear, and that was pretty much it for Gauguin. But he actually was Paul Gauguin was a stockbroker. I'm just drawing these little mountainy shapes here. And there was a financial crash. Stop me if you've heard this one. And he quit stockbrokering and decided to be an artist. So he's French and Peruvian, was born or raised in France. Now, I don't know that much about Gauguin, so please take everything I say with a big grain of salt. And he spent his time between France and Peru, and he didn't like the kind of conservativeness of the French art scene. He also didn't love the natural colors that the Impressionists used. It's a little bit smaller. I'm just kind of drawing these bushes in here. I'll put a picture on the screen of this scene so that you'll be able to follow along. But he was influenced by the Impressionists. But what he considered his work was he considered himself like a synthesist. That sounds so weird, but like he was more about like flat colors, bold shapes, synthetic kind of colors, not natural. I'm throwing in a little bit of yellow here down on the bottom. I'm using these eye crayons. They are very similar to the Neocolor 2s or the Lyra Aquacolor. Any of those are going to be a good option. Any sort of watercolor crayons, it's got a little opacity to it. Even gouache would work really well. So yeah, a lot of his work almost looks a little bit like cut out a bit. Like the clouds are very sharp edged, kind of coming down at a weird angle. But he does keep some like natural looks. Like up here we've got darker blue towards the top of the page, and then it's going to work a little bit lighter as we go down to the horizon. Talking about not what I'm doing is very difficult, so so I apologize. I probably will get some criticism, like, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're talking about. Look, I can know what I'm doing or I can know what I'm talking about. You can't have both. There was a sign at my, where I would get my car fixed, and it would say, you can have the work done cheap, fast, or good, pick two. That's what I feel like about this tutorial. You can get accuracy, you can get art history, you can get a painting tutorial, or no, what? You can get a good painting tutorial, some coherent art history. Pick one. Pick one. Oh goodness. Okay, so we got our sky there. I think I'm going to try blending it in with some white. I'm just going to use this broken part of crayon and really just burnish over there with this. When I use watercolor crayons, you can add more water and get like a watercolor effect, but I tend to use them more like a oil pastel and kind of blend into them. I do have a class on both oil pastels, my new Oil Pastels Made Easy course. You might be catching it on the launch special. It's on launch special until April 30th, and this should be out by then. So if it is before April 30th, you can go snag the launch deal. I'll put the link in the video description with the coupon code. And I also have a watercolor crayon class. It's called Watercolor Crayon Workshop, and if you've ever thought about investing in these crayons, or maybe you have invested in these crayons and you want to get the most bang from your buck, everything from watercolory techniques to more oil painting techniques. That class is a really nice one. I love the expressive strokes that he has all throughout the painting, but in the sky in particular, kind of like Van Gogh would have his expressive strokes. Now their styles are different, but they both have that kind of expressive quality, and they're both post-impressionistic painters. I was kind of thinking they were expressionists, but I guess it wasn't quite there yet. I guess it probably informed that movement, but they didn't quite make it into that movement themselves. All right, I think I want some pink in the sky too. I bought both of the sets of these eye crayons. They're around, well, you know, the prices vary. There was a coupon code last time I looked. It might still be available. I think I paid around $22 a piece for each of these sets because there were discounts going on. Oh, we'll use some pink in the clouds too. So, you know, I mean, I want to say though, if it's very expensive, if it's more than like $25, I think I would just save up and get the Neocolor 2s by Caran d'Ache, because those are they're a better product. They're more pigmented, and the pigments they use are probably higher quality. So that's all I want to say. If you're thinking about these, but the price has gone up, or check out the Lyra Aqua Color. Those are really good too. And they may be as cheap because these got kind of popular. So, you know, when something starts selling well on Amazon, they jack up the price. And I'm using the white to burnish over those clouds. Blend in that pink and yellow. Oh, I really like that because you have that contrast of the warm colors, the pink and the yellow, against the cool blues and purples of the sky. I think that looks really pretty. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of water. Now, when I add water to these, this is kind of important. So I've got a brush here. What I'm going to do, oh, that brush needs to be glued. I'm going to dip my bristles in the water. So I've just dipped the bristles. Then I'm going to squeeze my fingers through there, take off any like remaining water so it's just kind of damp. Because what I want to do is I want like kind of a gouache effect here. I just want to merge those colors together. And these eye crayons work really well for that. They don't work as well for like really watery techniques. The Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s work much better for really watery techniques. So I do want to make sure I mention that. And if you're taking my class, these will work for my class. But if you can swing it, or if the price isn't very different, go with the Neocolors. I think we just use a set of 15 Neocolors anyway, so it's not, I think it'd be about the same price as a 25 set of these. I might have a little too much water in my brush here. I am being careful to go around the clouds. Oh, so Gauguin did a lot of his paintings, and I think when we think of Gauguin's work, we think of the paintings he did in Tahiti. That's one of the reasons I want to use one of those paintings. He actually had a little bit of a scandal. He married a very young girl, 13-year-old, and one of his paintings actually depicts her after, I believe she's miscarried. So, you know, there's a lot of, it just feels like so many of our favorite artists had such tragic lives. He left Tahiti. He had some financial problems, and he came back, and during that time the area had been kind of taken over by French culture, and he was really bummed out to see that change. I think his former paradise was lost, which can happen when you grow up anyway. I think a lot of us, we kind of feel that paradise lost as we get older, and we, you know, go return places that we went as young people. And I think that's what's so interesting and unifying about art, is that it can be 100 years apart. Like, we're talking about somebody who's painting in the 1880s and 1890s, you know, about the time where, you know, and we think that that's so far away. We don't have anything in common with them. But think, big technology was disrupting the art world. Cameras. People were using cameras. So artists didn't need to paint realistically anymore. I'm sure they were freaking out like we're freaking out about AI. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to our livelihood? they adapt, right? They adapted. Financial crash. They adapted. He went from being a stockbroker to following his passion. I think if art teaches us anything, it teaches us that we are resilient, and that even though time separates us, things don't change that much, I guess I should say. Things don't change that much, and it seems like things change a lot. It's very weird. But we can always look to our past, or look to the people that came before us, the artists that came before us, and see a lot of similarities. Now I'm going to fade this out as I go over, because I'm going to turn these mountains are going to turn kind of golden. You got to be careful with these. They do break easier than the Neocolor 2, so I would try to keep them wrapped up if you can. Add a little bit of purple up here. I feel like the shape is off. I mean, I'm not going to get a perfect rendition, and that's not really what I'm after. I'm after kind of catching the vibe of Monsieur Gauguin. Yeah, he was pretty freaked out by Van Gogh from what I read. I would be too. I mean, that's gotta be a lot. I'm adding this orange in here. I love his use of vivid colors. Okay, so we've got some, I need to make sure I don't color over all of this, because he's got like a light colored tree. He's kind of doing a little negative drawing in here. Okay, I'm going to bring that orange up. Maybe even a bolder yellow in there would be fun. I like to do the light over darks with these crayons, because it will blend them really well. It almost kind of burnishes them and blends and reduces the tooth of the paper. Yeah, I highly encourage you to go, check out some documentaries on Gauguin, because, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of his work, honestly, but I do like the bright colors. I think this is something that we have to consider when we're looking at past artists, is that we may not love their work, but there's no denying the contributions that they made to art, and because we all stand on the shoulders. None of us are doing fully unique stuff. We're all kind of a conglomeration of the movements that have come before us, and that's what we're standing on. We stand on the shoulders of those that came before us, whether we liked what they did or not. And work that was not appreciated or sensationalized long ago, we are so used to now, and we can like it, but then the artists at the time did not get acclaim for their work. They got like ostracized in some cases, and I know I don't have the shape of that mountain right. I'm going to try to fix it, because I'm not happy with it. So yeah, I think that's why it's important to look at art and see what we can glean from it. All right, let's do this closer mountain. That's kind of like, it's got some pinks in there. I'm gonna go with some of that pink I used before, because there's like a dash of it in there. It's interesting. I'm wondering what he was seeing when he put some of these colors in, because they're unusual. Oh, I saved this old cutting board, because it was getting really like chopped up, and it had a lot of texture on it, and I thought, that's probably not the best for cutting food on, because in like the texture, food bacteria and stuff we get in the nooks and crannies. But I thought, you know what, that would be absolutely perfect for using with my watercolor crayons and my watercolor pencils, kind of like the palette that Karen Dosh has. But it's free, because I needed to replace my cutting board anyway, so I can use that for free rather than throwing it out, or whatever. That's or using it for way longer than I ought to. I use it for that. Oh, this is fun. I am enjoying this. I think I think it is really fun to kind of put yourself in the artistic shoes of somebody long ago. The thing is, you just have to like, I feel like you have to take a lot of it with a grain of salt, because things that, I don't know if they were okay back in the day, but a lot of things, and we talked about this when we were talking about Picasso, a lot of the things that people let fly back then would not fly today, and rightfully they should not fly today. But oh gosh, I've got this stuff way off. I gotta figure out, where's that tree gonna go? That tree's gonna go there. So yeah, all of that to say is just don't judge the artist by today's morality, or I don't know, judge the artist. You could do whatever you want to do, I guess. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's right to say about people that lived a long time. This is why I can't be a historian. That, and I went to clown college, so there's so many reasons why I'm not an academic. Mainly the fact that I don't have academic training. So big, this is what I mean when I say big grain of salt, friends, big grain of salt. There's a couple little paths that he has in pink that I think are just kind of charming. So I want to get those in there, even though it's going to... I don't know how much sense it's going to make, but we're going to do it. Ugh, my eye has been twitching so badly. I gotta tell you, I was in a vile mood yesterday. Of course, this is gonna come out weeks after my vile mood. But anyway, my eyes have been twitching like crazy. I have been sleeping like a teenager. Like, I fall asleep and I am out for like 8 or 9 hours. Craziness. Which, I mean, I'm glad to be sleeping that much, but I wake up and I don't even feel that rested. I'm like, what is going on? This is not me. This is not my beautiful life. This is not how I want to be. Why am I so tired? Put some purple in there. I feel like this is one of those every color in the box type of projects, which is kind of fun. Yeah, just trying to figure out, like, what are they doing with that? What's going on there with that color? What's the plan, Gauguin? I like that. What's the plan, Gauguin? What was that Starman Garfunkel song, 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover? What's playing, Stan? Don't mean to be coy, Roy. Set yourself free in Tahiti. Oh, I want to roll. Oh shoot, I just broke my crayon. I'm off my roll. They're trying to slow my roll. I can go my own way here because I don't know what's going on. I think we got a little bit of blue and teal in that tree. We got all sorts of things happening here. I don't know. I feel like I've lost the plot here a little bit, but oh my gosh. I just looked up at the monitor. This does not look good. This looks really sus. All right, let's fill in. I think that we'll bring it back, but yeah, right now it's looking pretty sus. Right now you're probably like, Lindsay, this is not your best work. Probably like, I'm not getting the art history or the lovely painting tutorial. You're half butting that at all accounts, Lindsay. Brighten this up, make it advance. You know what? It's going to be a pretty color. It's going to be pretty and colorful, and that's what we want in May. That's what we want in springtime. Especially if you live in Maine. We don't get a lot of springtime. The snow should be done by now, by the time this airs. I'm recording this in the middle of April. April 16th. Tax day was yesterday. Ooh, let's add some of this yellow up here. here. I feel like I'm coloring with crayons. I am. That's why. That makes sense, right? All right, I need a darker green. Let's try this guy. Oh, that looks all right. That's cutting through the yellow. Oh yeah, but then he's got this weird red tree going in there. I don't know. Gauguin? Looked better when you did it, Gauguin. This dark, weird looking tree over here. I think it's really hard to paint in the style of somebody else, especially if it's at all abstracted, because you can't, it's harder to, let's see, this tree should come over a little bit further. It's harder to, I'm going to scrub that out, interpret what they were going for. You know, when something's really abstract, it's kind of like, okay, what were they thinking with this area here? Were they thinking that, I don't know, it's just really hard to kind of follow the path of where they're going. I think I have this tree going too low. You can see it is hard to scrub out these eye crayons, but yeah, I think this here, these shrubs need to kind of come in front of that tree. I think I'm just going to add another tree in there. This is not going to go the way that he had it. I'm too far gone in, I'm too far gone. You know what I should have done? I should have sketched this out, but I only have one calendar, so we're going to make it work. We're going to make this work because I don't have another one. We're going to make this work because I think troubleshooting is actually a very important thing to know how to do. So I'm going to do a couple little trees. We're going to make it into two. We had one, but it's going to be two because I goofed. But hey, you can see the picture. You can see the picture on the screen, and you can do whatever you want to do. We're just having fun here. We're painting some nice, beautiful colors, and it's going to be cheery on a May Day. And we're having fun, right? Having fun. What more could you want? I'll give you your money back. You don't like it. 100% refund of $0. That red tree actually has like I want to say a stem. It has a trunk. What's a tree stem called? It's called a trunk. I'll put that in later. I think I'm gonna water this down a little bit. Let's do a little bit of a different color in there. All right. Oh, there's like even like a little bit of a path over there. I love the way that he just kind of goes for it with the color. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Even though I'm not a huge fan of his work, I love how he goes for it with the color. He's like, I'm going for it. I don't need your puritanical mores telling me what color I'm going to use in my painting. Puritanical? Probably not puritanical in France. I don't know what they would be. I don't think of the French as very puritanical. Alright, so let's just liquefy some of this. Remember, not a lot of water on your brush, just enough that you can merge them. This, I need to set this brush aside though and do a little brush surgery because that ferrule is Yeah, I can't deal with that. That's too annoying. It's just wiggling so much. I can't cope with it. Let's do this one right here. Oh, I love this one. This is a Royal and Langnickel Espresso Filbert. Royal and Langnickel, they are tough to beat as far as, and I say this as someone who has paintbrushes with other companies. They really have a lot of good quality, well-priced brushes. I don't tend to see this espresso line in store. I think you can probably order it like on Blick or something. First of all, I don't have a lot of stores in my vicinity. We've got a Michael's. I'm not sure if they carry this or not. I have so many brushes, I rarely look, but it's nice because you could use it with mixed media. You could use it with oils. Obviously, I'd keep a separate brush for oils as I do mixed media, but like these mixed media brushes, I also use the Zen All Media brushes a lot by Royal and Langnickel. They're very versatile. They're very resilient. But yeah, I'll use them for acrylics. I use them for gouache. I use them for pretty much any water-based medium. I could use them with watercolor, but they're not as absorbent as the brushes I typically use for watercolor, so I usually don't. But it's a really great, they make just wonderful brushes and so affordable. Be careful if you're working around something that you don't like muddy up the color in behind. I probably could have put that tree on top. That probably would have stood out just fine. I was kind of concerned with like large areas like that not being able to stick very well. But it probably would have been fine, to be honest. But actually, his work does look very, like this painting in particular, not all of his work, but this painting in particular does look very naive, kind of flat, naive, colorful, childlike. Now I'm just going to go in here. And the reason why I can kind of jump around and not worry too much about color muddying is that most of the stuff stays on the paper. It doesn't lift up that much. I will go and redefine edges. I mean, I wouldn't go right from like yellow to purple or anything, but, and like I will rinse this off before I go into that red. But a little bit of cross-pollination of the colors is actually good. It kind of keeps it harmonious. And while you have so many colors here, so many wild colors, that's not a bad thing. I'm going to go and do the dark green. Sometimes I'll just blot it on my brush, especially if I've got a lot to do. I just like to get the grain of the paper out, but you don't really have to. I mean, you can see canvas grain on his work. I want to recommend the series, I think it's called, oh shoot, now, The Story of Painting. The Story of Painting by Sister Wendy. She is just delightful, and she shows the master painter, all the master painters, all the great paintings, and she's so open-minded about everything. And she's so engaging and charismatic. I would highly recommend if you're looking for some very easily digestible art history, I would check her out. Check out her videos. She had a PBS special, and you can find those old episodes on YouTube. I borrowed them from the library way back in the day when I was the art director at a senior center, and my boss was like, okay, you need to give an art history lecture every week. I'm like, what? I'm not qualified for this. I didn't go to real college. So like I would be cramming at the library, and I would borrow those Sister Wendy videos because she's very engaging. It's very, it's not boring at all. Like, these are very educated people I am talking to. They're not going to buy my BS. They're going to know I went to clown college. They're going to be like, what is she talking about? Yes, this path is not quite right, but I think we'll fix it. You can honestly get by with just a little saucer of water. And in fact, when using watercolor crayons in this method, I would recommend just getting a little saucer of water, something small, so you don't end up dipping the whole ferrule of the brush in the water, because then you can end up with beads, like drops of water on your painting, and that's not great because it can lift up your paint where you don't want it to. Okay. Still seeing some grain, some colored grain there. I think I want to soften that up a little bit more too in the clouds. I tend to blend a lot more than what's needed. Okay, we're going to fix that, because that, although I know it is kind of like that, but I feel like it needs to be coming out over here more. Where it's compressed, it is kind of weird. All right, we also have some pretty cool palm trees growing up in here. And I love the palm trees, and I think that's gonna really add quite a bit. So we've got a palm tree that comes up between our clouds, and it's kind of coming in from behind there. And we get another one a little bit shorter. Get 3 over here. Probably scratch it into the paper. I think maybe I will paint on the little fronds though. I'll make some paint here on my palette. Let's see, we got purple, we got yellow. Boy, he's really going for it with those colors. Hard to believe a stockbroker painted that, huh? This one's really nice violet-y pink, red color, violet, red violet. It looks like a Crayola red violet, doesn't it? And we need some violet. This is a little bit thicker than the Caran d'Ache palette, I think. Oh, by the way, these do come with these, and they work fine, but there's only a little area of the textured plastic, so I just do this because it gives me a little bit more. Some white too. All right, you can also sharpen your pencils. So now I think I'm going to add a little drop of water to each of these with a more sturdy brush. I don't want to be doing that with my tiny brushes. Hopefully it's strong enough. You know, I could actually scribble back into them wet and get a little more color on. Maybe I'll do that because I don't want it to be watery, because it's got to be able to stand up on top of those other colors. And what color was I using? This one, I think. Some of the colors are kind of similar. I feel like I'm making ink stone, like ink from like a, you know, the sumi-e artists, and they grind the stone. That's what it feels like. Actually, that probably would have been a smart idea. Dip the crayon in, and then scribble it. Though, if you need to go back and then color with a crayon, it would be wet. It might not give you the effect that you want. Oh well. Well, if we need to take a break, we need to take a break. That's not the end of the world. Haven't used any black yet. Sometimes you do see that, like really harsh black outlines. But looks like there might be some black in there, but nothing I feel like adding yet anyway. All right, so I don't know how fine of a brush I want to use with that. I'll start with this. This is just a little number 1. It's not super fine, but just got to highlight on these trunks, so he's got a couple other in there too. All right, here goes. I don't feel like my colors are the green's exactly right, but that's all right. I can alter that. Take some of this more sap green looking color. Oh yeah, that's better. I think about like the supplies we have access to and the brushes and like everything, and I think, man, we are lucky to live in a time where we have so much abundance. I need to get some of that orange. There's a beautiful orange. I think I might need to mix it though. I don't want to water it down too much because I'm afraid it'll be transparent. This works really well though, dipping the crayons. I hope if you have these, you're giving them a try. You're giving them a whirl today. Make sure I don't have any water on the ferrule there. I mean, like, he's got orange on his palm fronds. They must be like maybe sunset colors hitting them, or I don't know. It's cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, that's neat. I want to go into some of this pink. He's got some pinks in there too. This does have such a nice tropical vibe to it. Another thing that happened around the time of the Impressionists is that they started making paint. Like, you could buy paint. You didn't have to make your own paint, and it would come in these handy tubes so artists could take them out painting with them. And that really changed the, I'm sure it democratized it a little bit too, because you didn't have to be sitting and making all of your own paint. You could be a stockbroker that painted on the side, right? You could actually have painting as a hobby. And it wasn't just, well, I'm sure people are pretty elite if they had it as a hobby, but it wasn't as elite as it used to be. We think of watercolor's roots. A lot of the roots of watercolor were kind of like refined hobbies that were okay for women to partake in. There. I feel like this is not coming together very well, but I think it will. I just think it's looking a little sus at the moment. Add some Prussian blue here. Yes, probably should have been a time lapse. But I wanted to keep the calendar ones real time because, I don't know, I just think it's kind of fun to have a community art project. You can sip your beverage, you can paint along. Boy, I could go for some tropical locales right now, let me tell you. Maine's beautiful in the summer, but spring is brutal. Spring is brutal because you have all this hope, like, oh, it's going to be good out, the weather's going to get nice, and then you'll get like a really nice day, and then it's back to reality the next day, and then it's like, oh, tricked me. That is extra sad. Okay, I think that's looking all right. Need a dark color for the trunk. I'm just going to mix some of this up and get a nice dark. Okay, and we can do a little branch in there that's very purple. Oh man. The dreaded water beads. Got too much water on there. I have to come back to that. Oh, that needs to be dark. That needs to not be, maybe we will get some black in there after all. Soften it with a little bit of brown, but I'm definitely seeing black in certain areas, so I want to be kind of accurate. Not totally, I mean, come on, who are you kidding? I didn't clean my brush off because I want to make sure my colors are oh, okay, this is a lot closer. That's why that didn't look right. So now I need to, oh, and that's a lot closer too. Ah, okay. And now that, but that tree has shrubs in front of it. I'm moving this one in front of that one because otherwise it's not gonna work. We're gonna delve. Sorry, Paul Gauguin, but I had to change some things. You get neither art history nor accuracy in this lesson. Sorry, wish you luck. I really am. But there's no do-overs because, you know, this tree has a little bit of teal in it. There's no do-overs because I don't have another sheet of this. But you know what? Sometimes you just gotta make it work. And that's what we're doing. We're making it work. That tree's now in front. Oh, I like this teal. Let's have a little bit of that over there too. That's kind of nice. Let's add a little bit over here. Ooh, now we're feeling a little tropical vibe going. I should have, actually, maybe I should have done this with the Neo colors because I have them right over there, but I know if you just bought these two and that's what you have, I don't want to be like, now you need these. Let's just try to rein it in a little bit and do with what we have. That should be a little bit yellower. Let's do a little bit of golden yellow. Oh yeah, you know what? We need to do a little bit of upward strokes here to make it look like grass. Hey, this is coming along. I think, anyway. I'm not unhappy with this. There's lots of little strokes, just up and down strokes here. Might tap them out a little bit. There's also a man walking down, it looks like a man walking down the path, and there's like a little dog over here and a man over here. I don't know if I want to put those in though. Alright, let's add a little bit of water. Just dipping the tips of the brush in the water. Going right down to the tape. I didn't tape the whole thing. Sometimes I regret that because I end up getting paint like beyond the tape, but I think I managed to control myself today. Oh, maybe I'll do a little bit of, was it this color? I think so. Some texture, patches of texture in there that I see. Oh, I like that. I think that looks nice. I'll do something to this. This has got some marks in it that I don't have. Oh yeah, let's do some marks in that tree back there. Oh, there's a lot more like brush strokes now that I really look at it. It's not as smoothly blended as I had it. Like back here you can really see some brush strokes. And in there, we definitely have some like yellow, thick yellow brush strokes. I don't know if I can, I might have to paint it on. I don't think I can get enough opacity sketching on there. So let me just make myself a puddle of yellow here. And put it on with a brush. I don't know about that. I think then I need some brighter red too, but that's alright, I can do that. We grind the stick of ink. We grind the crayon. No idea what that accent is. Okay, and I get a little bit of that pink. I feel like I want a little... Alright. I also feel like I want a little more light blue, but maybe applied with a brush. Boy, I think this is going to be fun when I take the tape off. I think it's going to be a really interesting reveal. I don't know, I'm really debating on whether or not I want to put the dog and little person in there. What a strange color for a tree. Well, with heck, I think we're gonna put the dog in there. Why not? Okay, I may regret this, but what, you know, I've got one. You got one calendar. We're gonna go for it. Okay, so there's a little dog over here. And it's just like a little silhouette. So we've got like little body. I'm using a watercolor pencil because I can get a little bit better detail. You get a head, body, tail. Oh, it's a pretty primitive dog, so I'm gonna dip my pencil in the water for a sec. And get a little darker. Pulling out all the stops. Well, it's doggish. Alright, now we got the guy walking down the path, which I noticed I haven't completely, I think it would be down here more, but we're gonna do what we got, what we can do. Alright, so I'm gonna draw a box for a torso, draw 2 legs, he's got like a pole across his arms where he's carrying something. And then he's got a hat. Yes, I know that I've got this completely out of proportion, but all right. I'm gonna use the black just because I don't have. Let's see his arms. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do this part in color pencil, watercolor pencil. Well, it's just kind of like a little stick figure, really. And whatever he's got hanging from the stick. Alright, I'm just going to fill it in. I actually think that's alright. I don't think that's too bad. Let's, that stick is very yellow, so is his hat, so I'm going to try to get that painted. Oh shoot, too much water. Man, oh man. I'm having a hard time not getting the beads of water dripping down my brush. I just basically wiped all that off. The man with the yellow hat. We've got something pretty bright red on that side, and then on the other side's got something that looks like it's green. Alright, and then maybe do some grasses around the path. Okay, So at this point, I'm just going to evaluate what else needs to be done, if anything. I feel like the palm trees need a little bit more of a highlight. And I also feel like there's like a pinkish purpley trunk on this tree. I like that. Oh, I like that color. Actually, I think I'm going to do a little bit of foliage over there, maybe a little bit more. A little bit more pink. Mixing the magenta color with the white gives me a better pink than the pink. The pink is a little bit duller. This was fun though. I know we had our moments. We had our moments of eek, but all in all, I think it turned out pretty well. So if you heat dry this, it'll get really shiny because all the wax will melt as you do it. It'll be fine though. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything. I want to have a little bit more definition on that tree, I think. I'm just gonna make some greens here, maybe a little of this guy. I like watercolor crayons. They're just so fun. They're immediate. They're not really messy. Take some of that yellow in there too. And final overview. What do I think? A little bit more pink in the path there. All right, I'm ready to take off the tape and see what we have. Reveal what we have here. Ooh, nice border one. Hopefully they're all nice. Nice border two. Nice border three. And a nice border 4, and I think that we captured the spirit of Paul Gauguin. Did I not? Oh good, I didn't get any crud on there. Oh wait a minute. Don't talk too fast, Lindsay, don't speak too soon. But there you have it. I think, honestly, that's pretty cute. And it was a lot of fun, and I hope, you know what? One more thing though, I'm thinking now that I feel like maybe that should be a little bit darker. I'm just looking here where I see little areas. It looks like they have a little bit of black. And we were talking about that earlier. Some of the areas in that tree. And some areas back there. Okay. I mean, there's some areas in there too that have a little bit of black, but not too much. I don't want to mute it out. Plus, I don't want to hide that dog. The dog should be. I probably should put the dog down the field a little bit more. But anyway, there you have it. Our rendition of Tahitian Landscape by Paul Gauguin. I hope that you enjoyed this and you give it a try. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and have fun painting it. I hope you're doing this calendar project along with us. Boy, we're going to have 12 paintings by the end of the year. I think that's really awesome. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!